everyone, today we are going to discuss about dental waxes. So first we'll be reading about classification of dental waxes. So classification may be based on according to origin. According to origin, the waxes are classified as mineral waxes that are extracted from the minerals and plant waxes that are extracted from the plants and insects that are extracted from insects and animal waxes. So the next classification is according to use. So according to use, the waxes are classified as pattern waxes, processing waxes and impression waxes. So first, pattern waxes. Pattern waxes are used to create a pattern, that is inlay casting, RPD casting and base plate. So these pattern waxes are especially used for creating the shape of the crown that we need to restore. And the next one is processing wax. So the processing wax can be of boxing, utility, sticky and shellac. So the processing waxes, these are mainly used for restoring the land area, the borders of the primary impression that we take. And the next one is impression waxes, that may be corrective and bite registration wax. So the impression waxes are mainly used for taking the impression, like recording the jaw relations, recording the occlusal. The next classification is the ISO classification for casting inlay and base plate wax. So in this classification, the type 1, which is the casting wax. So as I told earlier, the casting wax is used for cast metal restoration. That is, before preparation of the metal crown, we prepare a model or a pattern by using a wax. After that, the wax is subjected to heat so that the wax melts away and the molten alloy is allowed to flow. So that is cast metal restoration. So in this, it is subdivided into class 1 and class 2. Class 1 is soft wax, which is soft in nature and which is less dimensional stable. And the class 2 is hard wax, which is more stable than the soft wax. Next, the type 2 classification, it is base plate wax. So this base plate wax is commonly used for denture base and making of occlusal rims. For example, this is the wax that is used for making the occlusal rims. So this is the type 2 base plate wax. Okay. So it is further divided into class 1, class 2 and class 3. The class 1 is soft wax and class 2 is hard wax and class 3 is extra hard wax. Okay. This is all about the classification. So quickly, let us revise the classification. So the classification is mainly according to 3 topics, that is origin, use and ISO classification. According to origin, it is based on the origin from which the wax is extracted, and according to use, it is the purpose we are using the wax. Okay. So pattern wax. So as I said earlier, this is the example of the pattern wax and the processing wax. So this is the processing wax. As you can see, this is the beading wax. Okay. So it will be like this, which is used to seal the borders. Okay. The impression wax, which is a bite registration wax that is used for making impression. The next classification is ISO classification for casting inlay and base plate wax. So they can be type 1 and type 2. So that is, type 1 is used for casting wax and type 2 used for base plate wax. Okay. So now let us revise the properties, that are the general properties of the waxes. So for this, we can use a mnemonic, that is M square T F R D. This is the mnemonic to remember the general properties of the waxes. So the first property is melting range. So waxes have a melting range rather than melting point. So generally, what is melting? When we heat a candle or we light a candle, the wax melts automatically. Okay. So that is called as melting range. So generally, when we light a candle, the wax melts due to the heat. So at the particular temperature, the wax melts and again it resolidifies. So here we can say that waxes have a melting range rather than melting point. Next, mixing of waxes change in melting range. So as we all know, that is waxes are of several types. So in dentistry we use a mixture of waxes, that is we not only use a single type of wax, we mix several types of waxes and we use it. So as different wax has different melting range, so due to the melting of waxes we have a change in melting range. Okay, so the next property is thermal expansion. As we all know, as we increase the temperature, the waxes expand. Okay, as we decrease temperature, waxes contract. It is generally, we study in physics generally, that is, as the temperature increases, a substance expands. As we decrease the temperature, it comes into a contract. So this is the thermal expansion. In this, we'll be studying the coefficient of thermal expansion. So here the coefficient of thermal expansion, it is a measure like how much the particular material is going to expand. So we'll be measuring in the terms of coefficient of thermal expansion. So it is largest among the other materials. Like in dentistry we have various types of materials like acrylics, ceramics, metals, alloys, those all. Among those, the wax is having a highest coefficient of thermal expansion. Okay, so as the temperature changes after removal from the mouth, like we are going to prepare a crown. Okay, we are going to prepare a metallic crown for a patient. So what we do is first we keep a wax to take an impression of that. Okay, so we make a wax pattern. So when after making a wax pattern in the patient's mouth, we are going to remove the wax pattern from the patient mouth. While we are removing it, it is subjected to temperature change. As we all know, generally the temperature, a person's temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. So in the human body it is 37 degrees Celsius. Like in atmosphere it may be 27. Okay, so due to the change in temperature, that is there is a transition between the change in temperature from a person's mouth to the external environment. So due to this temperature changes after removal from the mouth, there is inaccuracy in finished restoration prepared from wax. So as we have read earlier that decrease in temperature causes wax to contact. So during winter season normally there will be a low atmospheric temperature compared to the human body temperature. So the wax while removing it tends to contract. So there will be a inaccuracy. Okay, so it may be a summer season, like it is 43 degrees Celsius outside and the patient's mouth temperature is nearly 37. So while removing, here the wax expands. So it also leads to the dimensional instability. So which leads to inaccuracy and finished restoration. Okay, that is prepared from this wax. Coming to the next property, that is mechanical properties. So in mechanical properties, we have elastic modulus, proportional limit and compressive strength. So this we have already learnt in physics. Okay, so elastic modulus, proportional limit and compressive strength, this all comes under the mechanical properties. So these are low for waxes. Okay, generally we know that the waxes are unstable. When we try to when we try to manipulate the wax, it easily bends, like it is soft, fluffy. Okay, the strength is much lower than any other dental materials. Okay, in daily life also we experience that wax easily bends away. Okay, we can mold it easily. Okay, so this all mechanical properties, that is strength, modulus, this all are low for waxes. So these properties generally depends on temperature. Like if temperature decreases, the properties improve. So you can guess the reason that I have already explained in the previous property, that as we decrease the temperature, the waxes contract. So if the waxes contract, what happens? The properties, that is the mechanical properties of the waxes, tend to improve. Okay, so When we heat the wax, the strength is much lower as it easily flows. Okay, when it contracts, that is when we decrease the temperature. Okay, these all properties tend to improve. The next property is flow. So let me demonstrate you the mechanical properties of the wax. So as you can see, this is a wax sheet. Okay, that is used for making occlusal rims, as you all know that. So now we say that proportional limit compressive strength, it is low. See, like, yeah, we can fold it easily. Okay, it's very weak. Okay, so by this we can say that its compressive strength is low. Like, see, see, yes, I have pressed it, so it became flat enough. So its tolerability is very low. See, you can see the thinnest portion over here. Okay, so by this we can say that all these mechanical properties are low for the waxes. Okay, so coming up with the next with the next property of general waxes, that is flow. So when melted, okay, when melted, the wax flows readily into all parts of the die. So what is a die? So basically, as I said you earlier, we need to prepare a crown, okay, of a particular teeth. So first we prepare a die, that is it is a positive replica of a prepared tooth. Okay, so we prepare a die. On that the wax is melted and it is flown. Okay, so this flow, generally water flows, right? When we pour water on the ground, or that is it moves from the point to the another point. Okay, in the same way, when heated, the wax also flows. Okay, so this flow, the property of flow, that depends on the temperature of the wax, force applied, and length of the time the force is applied. Suppose we heat a wax for a low temperature. Does the wax flow readily? No. Okay, when we heat the wax at higher temperature, that is 100 degrees centigrades, okay, it flows very readily. Okay, force, that is I have already said you, that is compressive strength. When we press the wax, it tends to be thinned out. Okay, in the same way, when we apply the force, okay, the wax also melts. Okay, so it also depends on the force applied. And the third one is length of the time the force is applied, whether the force is applied for the shorter period or longer period. Okay, next, flow increases when the melting point of the wax is approached near. That is, suppose, assume the melting point, that is melting range of the wax, is 45 degrees Celsius. Okay, so when the wax, while heating, when the wax temperature approaches near to the 45 degrees Celsius, the flow increases. Okay, that's the meaning of the sentence. The next one is residual stress. So what is meant by residual stress? So the residual stress exists in completed pattern. Okay, so generally this property exists in the completed pattern, that is the pattern which is already prepared. Okay, so the residual stress can be of compressive strength and tensile strength. I mean compressive residual stress and tensile residual stress. So first, coming into the compressive residual stress. Okay, what is meant by residual stress generally is the stress that exists in the pattern. Okay, due to the manipulation or handling properties, etc., etc. Okay, so the first one is due to compressive residual stress. So generally, when wax, it is held in compression during cooling. That is, suppose, let us assume this is the wax. Okay, so now it is really hot enough. Okay, now I'm cooling this molten wax. Okay, I'm cooling this molten wax by holding it under the compression, like this. See, I'm applying force on the both sides and I'm letting this wax cooled. Okay, so what happens if I do like this, like I'm pressing from the either sides? So the atoms are forced together. Okay, so the atoms are forced together. So after cooled to room temperature, the load is removed. So I'm applying the pressure I'm applying the compression. So the atoms are forced together, see, so that after cooled, okay, now it has cooled to room temperature. Okay, now the room temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. No, it is 27. Okay, it's winter season, so 27 degrees Celsius. Now it is cooled. Okay, after cooling, does this shape changes to normal? No, I have applied compression. So due to this, there is a distortion in the shape of this wax. So after it has cooled, okay, after the load is removed, the motion of the molecules is restricted. That is, it is in the same distorted shape. Okay, this is because due to the residual stress. So due to the application of compression, there is a development of residual stress inside this wax. So due to this, there is a dimensional instability. That is, there is a change in shape. Okay, this is the wax held in compression during cooling. This is one type of compressive residual stress. Next, the other type is when the wax is heated. Okay, wax is heated. This now, this wax which I have said, this one, now I'm going to heat this again. Okay, again I'm going to heat this. So when I heat it, what happens? The wax which has distorted, okay, it reaches, like it expands like this, it expands. Okay, it expands. So the residual stresses which are present, so there is a release of the residual stress that has been stored in this wax. So, which leads to normal thermal expansion. That is, like when this residual stresses are released. So, as I said earlier, the wax tends to expand. Okay, it expands. See, it expands. So, when it expands, okay, this expansion is generally greater than the normal expansion. So generally, as the temperature increases, I said the wax tends to expand. So compared to that expansion, this expansion is really greater due to the release of the residual stresses. Okay, so the next one is due to tensile. So when the wax is cooled under tension, okay, so this is the wax. So now I'm cooling it under tension. That is, when I cool this wax under tension, there is a release of residual tensile stress. Okay, so when there is a residual tensile stress released, there would be a dimensional change, as we have said. Okay, when wax is cooled under tension, there would be a release of residual tensile stress. So due to this, there occurs a dimensional change, and that is due to the contraction of the wax. So this wax tends to contract, that is decrease in size. Okay, decrease. So finally it appears to be like this. Okay, so the next property is ductility. What does that mean? Generally, we know that metals exhibit the property of this ductility. Okay, so when the temperature of wax is increased, the ductility is increased. Okay, so when temperature of the wax increases, the expansion increases, flow increases. In the same way, the ductility also increases. So the waxes with low melting points have higher ductility than the waxes with higher melting points. So this is the point to be noted, that is, the waxes with low melting point is having a higher ductility than the waxes with the high melting point. Okay, so let me briefly explain this, that is mechanical properties. These are low for the waxes, and flow, which depends on the temperature, force applied, and length of the time the force is applied. And the next property is residual stress. It can be a compressive or tensile. In compressive, the wax is held under compression, okay, during cooling. So it tends to distort, and due to the residual stress, and when again this wax is heated, there is a release, and there will be a greater expansion than the normal expansion. And due to the tensile stress, it can be it is cooled under the tensile force, so it can be it results in the release of residual tensile stresses. So there will be a dimensional change, and there would be finally the contraction of the wax. And the next last property, that is ductility. That is, when the temperature of the wax is increased, the ductility increases, and the waxes with low melting point exhibit higher ductility than the waxes with higher melting points.